Welcome back to the channel. I'm Carolyn if you're new here. Today we're talking all about my GLP-1 journey. I realized that I really didn't have one whole video talking about my whole experience so far on a GLP-1. So that is today's video. While we're on the topic of GLP-1 medications, I've been trying out this new GNC Total Lean Shake protein powder. I've really been enjoying it. So it's morning time. It's like 8 a.m. and I like to have a protein shake in the morning just to get in a good amount of protein before I start my day. It's really helped me on my GLP-1 journey because you really want to focus on protein to build muscle. It helps so much, not only with maintaining your muscle mass, but also I've noticed it helps just make sure that I'm full a lot longer. And by prioritizing protein, I'm less tempted to like grab, sweet treats or things like that don't always serve me best when I'm trying to lose weight. So I'm gonna make my protein shake. I like using milk. I just prefer the consistency of milk over water, but you feel free to do whatever you like. And then I use a full scoop of protein because that gives me 25 grams of protein, and that just feels like a really amazing amount of protein to start my day with. And I love this protein powder in particular because it's very smooth when you mix it up. And it just has a really nice consistency. I have the French vanilla flavor. That is my preference, but they do have a chocolate flavor. I'm just a vanilla girl. I love a vanilla flavor. I don't know why. It's so funny because as a kid, I was way more into chocolate, and now as an adult, I much prefer the vanilla. And then I just have one of these electric whisks. This works really well with mixing everything in. But yeah, my GLP-1 journey has been over the past almost 2 years, and I have really made sure to focus on protein. It's really the most important macronutrient when you're on a GLP-1 journey or a weight loss journey. So let's give this a try. It's all mixed up. Oh my God. It's so good. It's so good. The vanilla flavor is not artificial tasting at all, which I love because there's nothing worse than like an artificial tasting flavor. But this is so creamy and delicious. I love it. What's great is that GNC is really stepping up their game with carrying products that really support you on a GLP-1 medication, just like this protein powder. I trust it completely because GNC only carries expert vetted and approved products, so you can rest assured that you're getting the best quality for your money, and I couldn't recommend GNC enough. I love this product. I love how it supports me on my weight loss journey. I feel so good when I prioritize protein, and I'm so glad that GNC is really trying to make sure that you are set up for success with all the products that you need to be successful. I'm going to sip on this while I work, and please enjoy my entire GLP-1 journey. Welcome to the Eastern Shore of Virginia. I get married in 2 days. But the purpose of this video, I wanted to sit down and talk about my entire GLP-1 journey from beginning to now, to just have sort of an archive of it here on the channel for people to reference, because I get a lot of questions about it on my Instagram, and I just figured let's just get it all out there in the open. So I started a GLP-1 medication, specifically Mounjaro, back in September of 2022. I had heard about it that summer. Changing angles for you. I think it's better this way. So started it in August 2020. I started Mounjaro. Now, I was very lucky and I downloaded the savings coupon in August of 2022 when the terms and conditions were still allowing people to get the medication when it wasn't covered by insurance at only $25 a month, which they Eli Lilly quickly changed, I think by October, because so many people were getting the medication and shortages were happening. So I started at the lowest dose, 2.5 milligrams, and I was on that dose for just 1 month. That's the loading dose. It's kind of a way for your body to get adjusted to the medication. And then I moved up to the 5 milligram dose. And I was at 5 milligrams, I want to say for 3 or 4 months. I had really, really great results with 5 milligram. And had it not been for the medication shortages at the time, I think I would have stayed and should have stayed at the 5 milligram, just because I was losing. I was losing, and you know, it's really if you're still losing at a good rate, you really shouldn't need to go up in dose. But because of the shortages and the mess that was, I had to move up to the 7.5 dose because that was what was available. I think I was only on 7.5 for a month or two, and I had side effects on that medication. I'll get to the side effects in a second, but I want to walk you through the timeline of my dosage. So I was on 7.5 for maybe a month or two, and then again, because of shortages, I moved up to 10 milligrams. And I was only on 10 milligrams for 1 month. And then again, because of shortages, I moved up to the 12.5, and I was on the 12.5 dose for the longest time. I think I was on it from April 2023 up until the end of 2023. And sort of towards the fall of 2023 is when I came into issues with insurance. So the savings card, that coupon that I had, it ran out in June of 2023. So that's when I stopped being able to get it with insurance, or stopped being able to get it with the savings coupon for $25. And then I believe I was able to get my insurance. They started covering it without a prior authorization. I think that happened for like 2 months, and then they told me I needed a prior authorization for it. So I then switched to Ozempic because the prior authorization was denied for Mounjaro. So I switched to Ozempic because I didn't need a prior authorization there. I'm actually mixing it up, I think. I had enough. Okay, here. So the savings card ran out in June of 2023, but I had started sort of stockpiling, and I was only taking the medication every 2 weeks. So I had enough medication to last me through the summer, taking it every 2 weeks. And then in September of 2023, somehow my insurance covered Mounjaro without a prior authorization, and I was able to get a 3-month supply. I don't know how, I don't know why, it happened. My provider put it in for 3 months, and I got it. And I continued to spread it out every 2 weeks. And then the beginning of this year, in 2024, I started, I now needed a prior authorization for Mounjaro. And I ran out of the medication at the end of December. So it was a whole struggle. I put in prior authorizations for Mounjaro, Saxenda, Trulicity, Ozempic, Wegovy, and they were all denied. I finally was able to get Ozempic. Well, no, Ozempic I didn't need a prior authorization for, so I started that. The beginning of this year was kind of crazy because I was able to get Ozempic, and then 1 month I was able to get Mounjaro, and then another month I was only able to get Ozempic. And then finally Zepbound, which is the same medication as Mounjaro, it's just FDA approved for weight loss. I was able to get that. That was put on my insurance formulary list finally back in February or March. It was later than that. Maybe April or May. I'm all over the place in this video, can you tell? It's a very weird timeline. But I put in a prior authorization for Zepbound. I really didn't think it would go through, but it ended up getting approved. And so I have a prior authorization approval for Zepbound until January of next year, which is great. So when I went on Ozempic, I was on the highest dosage of Ozempic, And when I went back to Zepbound/Mounjaro, my doctor didn't want to go back to the 12.5 immediately because the conversion is not the same. The conversion for, I think, the 2 milligram of Ozempic is only 7.5 of Mounjaro or Zepbound. So I went to the 10 milligram of Zepbound, and I have been on that for a month, 2 months, and that has been working really well. I'm not spacing them out. I've been taking them every week. I really have enjoyed the 10 milligram. I've been steadily maintaining, slightly losing a little bit, but I haven't been trying to lose any weight right now just because I'm getting married and I wanted to make sure that my wedding dress was gonna fit and not need a ton of alterations. So yeah, that's sort of the timeline. Currently on Zepbound, but it's the same thing as Mounjaro. Tirzepatide is the medical name for it, generic name for it, and then Ozempic and Wegovy are the same compound, semaglutide. So there's the timeline, and now let's get into some side effects. So initially, starting out the medication, I experienced headaches and insomnia. Mainly insomnia with the 5 milligram dose. That was like, I would wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning and feel wide awake. Wide awake. It was the craziest thing. But I think as I got used to being on the medication, that subsided and I don't experience insomnia anymore. The headaches, I would like wake up in the morning with a headache, and I don't know if it was because I was eating fewer calories, but those have also subsided substantially. I experienced the most amount of nausea on the 7.5 milligram dose. That, for some reason, that dosage, I don't know, I just experienced nausea on it to the point where I asked my doctor for Zofran, or I asked for something to help with the nausea, and he prescribed Zofran, and that helped. And then moving up to the 10 milligram dose, I didn't have any issues. So I've been very, very lucky with side effects, and I know that's not the case for everyone. I've had one friend who, she was on Ozempic and she was just so sick and so nauseous. So I will say that semaglutide has shown more side effects than tirzepatide. And I experienced, so a lot of people asked me what I thought was more effective or what I liked better, Mounjaro or Ozempic, and I preferred Mounjaro. I think the studies show that tirzepatide is much more an effective GLP-1 agonist, and I definitely experienced that. I think if maybe I had started out on semaglutide, I would have been fine, but I think because my body responded so well to tirzepatide and I started out on that, the switch from tirzepatide to semaglutide it just wasn't as effective in terms of weight loss and keeping the weight off and maintaining. Because when I was on Ozempic for a few months earlier this year, my weight slowly started to creep up, which was very difficult. And it just felt like I was more inflamed, and it felt like I was back in that place of struggling to keep my weight off, and just maintain where I was. But now back on tirzepatide, I feel much better, and I'm very happy about it to be on Zepbound for the next however long. In total, so I started my GLP-1 journey at 230 pounds even, and today I'm sitting at 180. So I've lost a total of 50 pounds. My lowest I've gotten down to is 175. I was 175 back in November of last year when I was taking the 12.5 milligram of Mounjaro. So, but I also am happy I didn't want to lose more because of my wedding dress. So yeah, I'm kind of at a place where now that my wedding is happening in 2 days, and my dress fits perfectly, once the wedding is over, do I try and lose more weight? I'm very happy here at 180. Let me stand up and show you what I look like. Very happy here at 180. I think I look really good. I feel really good at this weight. My loose skin is very, I have a lot of loose skin, but it's manageable. I don't know, I've always had in my head the number 170 to get down to, and I don't know, 170, 160, I don't know. I'm kind of in that, like, do I attempt, do I try, or do I just kind of be happy where I am and focus on getting plastic surgery next year, hopefully. I'm still saving up money for that. But yeah, that is the journey. I also, so I use the Weight Watchers Clinic. I have used them from the start with my GLP-1 medication journey. I get questions of why I didn't go to my bariatric surgeon, and to be honest, my surgeon is in a different area than I am, and I really didn't think they would help me. I went to them back in 2021. I was like a year and a half post-op, and I was struggling. I wasn't losing any weight. I was really feeling like I was fighting my body again, and they just kind of reiterated, like, yeah, keep doing the 3 meals a day, no drinking after your meals. And I'm like, I'm doing all of the things. I'm doing everything right, and the weight is still not coming off. And so it was kind of disheartening, that experience. And the Weight Watchers Clinic option came up, and the fact that it was virtual, like, I love that option. I love being able to message my provider at any point in time and just say, like, hey, I have this question, or I'm ready to go up in dosage or whatever. It's made it so easy, and I have loved the program so much. So that is my journey. That is my whole experience on a GLP-1 medication. I have found it overall incredibly positive. It has helped so much with the food noise, to the point where, like, I don't feel like I'm obsessing about food or feeling consumed by thoughts of it. It feels very manageable to live my life on a day-to-day basis. And honestly, if I never lost another pound, or if I never lost a pound to begin with, I would stay on this medication. Another thing that I get asked is, do I plan to stay on it long term? Like, what are the long-term effects? Do you gain weight back? Statistically, you do gain some weight back if you go off of it cold turkey, I think, but you're supposed to wean down and wean off of it. My plan, so we're getting married, and we are hoping to start having kids in about 2 or 3 years. So over the next 2 or 3 years, I'm probably going to work my way down in dosage and figure out a good spot there, and then eventually come off of it completely to get pregnant. You can't be on it when you're pregnant. So yeah, I'm looking at the next sort of year or so kind of winding down. And then I am not opposed to getting back on it after having kids. If I feel like I need to get back on it after kids, I will. I went into this knowing this was a long-term solution, that it was a long-term medication for maintenance, and I'm perfectly okay with that. That doesn't bother me. I have other chronic illnesses. I have psoriasis that I take an injection for 4 times a year. I have hypothyroidism that I take medication for every single day. And my obesity is a chronic illness, and these medications are revolutionary. They are truly have changed the game when it comes to treating obesity. And bariatric surgery is still the number one treatment that we have with studies and stuff. You're going to lose the most amount of weight and keep it off with that. But these medications are such great adjunct treatments for people like me who never got down to the weight they wanted to, or who struggled to just stay where they are. It's an amazing medication. And people who haven't had surgery, I speak to so many people who they weren't ready for surgery, they weren't ready for something like that, but these medications came up and it has helped so much. So I'm a huge advocate for these medications, and the biggest issue we have is accessibility. Insurance coverage, which I have struggled with, and just being able to get them. There are so many shortages right now. It's hard, and I hope that over time, in the next 5 years, I really hope we see a huge shift in how not only the accessibility, but also the stigma towards people who struggle with obesity, and who live in larger bodies and who want help and who want to lose weight or want to be healthier, that stigma changes from, well, they're just lazy and fat, to, no, they have an illness, they have a disease that's preventing them from being compliant with the diet and exercise. I still diet and exercise. I still am very mindful of my diet, and I work out, and those things are very important to me. I totally altered my whole life when I had gastric bypass surgery. So those things work hand in hand. It's not you take this medication and the weight magically falls off. You have to put in the work. It's the same with bariatric surgery. It's only a tool, and the only way to get it to work is if you put in the work. So that's my whole spiel. I think I covered everything. If I didn't, please let me know. Happy to make a part 2 to this video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And next time you see me, I'm gonna be married.